So hello and welcome to week 5 of Yoga for Runners Healthy Backs. So we've done some work over the weeks to find ease in our backs, to find a way of releasing tension and working in different ways with the spine to rotate, the twisting we've done, the lateral movements, the side movements, the lengthening movements, that return to the look at alignment to support our backs. We've done some strength work, some back bends. So we've kind of been working our way through various routines, and we've developed some of those routines or sequences. So we'll continue with that this week. We're doing a little bit of variations on some things we've done, some things that are new. So hopefully you find some of these things useful, just generally in your running, but also in supporting your back health. Okay, so what we're going to start with is a little bit of a wake up, shake up energy movement that's going to help us also get really established in finding our connection to the ground. And it goes as simple as this. So it's just get a little bit of shake out. So we're shaking fingers, we're shaking wrists, we're shaking elbows, and we have a feeling in our shoulders even if they're not moving that much. We then feel the skin on the upper arm, the lower arm, back of the hands, and the front of the hands, so the palms, front of the wrists, inner arms, outer arms, and the top of the shoulders, top of the back, front of the chest. Okay, and we keep that movement going, and we start to just do a little bit of a shake out by bending the knees and giving a little bit more weight to the feet, particularly to the ankles. And if things are going okay, we can lift the ankles to get more of a general vibration through the body, so my voice is going to sound extra weird. And I also try and release the breath. So really good, crazy, joyful, strange, helpful, release, let go, warm up, to get energy in the whole of the body. They're comfortable with the heels coming off the floor. Keep with that. So really loosening thing to do. And slow up. And just take in that energy, that kind of weight in the whole body. Hopefully we've got had a little bit of movement around the diaphragm to loosen in the centre. We had enough for the back and the spine to have some movement and loosening and hydration and changing the movement without creating jarring. So see how you feel in the back, particularly those of you that have a little bit more issues with the back. See how the shoulders are for those of you that have issues with shoulders, and for everybody else as well. Okay, and just notice the breath as well. How's the breath? Take your hand on the belly for a moment, hand on the chest, and just notice the heartbeat, notice the heart settling, notice the breath settling. Feel the hand on the chest, hand on the belly. Movement in the centre of the body. Still feeling that vibration in the body if you can, that warmth, that energy, that vitality. So, weighting up the spine as well as the rest of the body. Often useful to do whole body movements, whole body connections. and relax the arms. So we're going to do some rocking forward, side, back, side, and then circular movements for the body. So find your stability, slightly bend the knees to give that sense of aliveness and connection to the ground. Feet might feel quite buzzy, particularly if you're lifting your heels up with that previous movement. So we're going to keep the structure of the body as one, so we need to have that alignment of pelvis and rib cage and skull, so they're in balance. They center, sort of centering our gravity in each section, and then we kind of rock forward a little bit so the weight comes onto our toes. We're going to rock over to one side, so probably end up coming my way. Going to come back to center. Going to rock back, and that's the more difficult one that we want to try and change things in our structure. So trying to keep that alignment as you take yourself back slightly. Come back to center. Drift over to the other side. The weight will go onto the leg that you're leaning towards, but broadly speaking, the whole body comes together. And we're back to center. We come forward. Notice what needs to be switched on, where the energy goes, where the holding goes. Try and breathe and back to center. So the center might keep changing. Go over to your first side. Again, the weight will go onto one foot a little bit more, but the lean is keeping the alignment if you can. Back to center. And the trickiest bit, just going back and just feeling that you can do that safely. And breathe, relax the shoulders, and come back to center. Okay, and then to our second side. Still keeping the length, still keeping the breath, still keeping the alignment, and back to center. Okay, so going back and to center, going over to, we're kind of going in reverse now, and back to center, but a little quicker, forward, back to center, okay, and back to center, side, center, forward to center, and relax. Okay, now just rather than going from point to point, circling the square, if you like, or circling the points that we've been doing. Keep the belly slightly active to support the lower back. The lower back's grumbling, then just go be still for a moment and just do something different so the body isn't all getting into a stuck position, and circle in the other direction. It's like someone's spinning your legs, spinning top, but without so much holding that you can't have the energy inside the body and the subtle movement inside the body and the breath going. Okay, and into center. Okay, so separating the legs to probably beyond shoulder distance, certainly heel shoulder distance, and toes a little further out. Okay, so we're going to move our weight from side to side, just from side to side. We're going to do that by bringing the arms up to center and then taking our weight down. The knee goes broadly over the second, third toe, just so we've got that safety for the knee. We come back to center and over to the opposite side. So over, center, over, center. So there's a going down to the ground, there's coming back up, and second side. Almost like you're pushing up from the foot, pushing up from the foot. You could feel like pushing up from one foot, going through that leg, across the centre and down to this leg. On this leg, coming up to centre and going down to the opposite side. Breathing in, breathing out. Breath in, breath out. A more flowing movement as we go from side to side. We're moving the weight, we're getting the rebound and the connection to the ground through the foot. So we're really feeling each part of the movement. But then it just becomes flow. Becomes one movement. This idea that we can just kind of not be on automatic. We still want to be in the body, but there isn't a beginning and an end. There's just this floating and flowing. Okay, so one more each side. Weight down, and back to centre. Let's get the feet together. See how we are now. We're back into centre. See how the breath is. Give a sigh if you're not sure. You want to give a bit more, release it right at the time of the day you're doing this 5th class. Okay, so I need to move a little bit forward, so I've got space to have my arms twisting around a little bit. So it doesn't matter if you need to be interested in my feet now. We're going to work a little bit more on rotation. So if we start to rotate the pelvis, think pelvis moving side to side, and then let the arms just drift with you. So we're coming into a twist, but we have a sense again of the long spine and sense of feeling tall as let the hips come from side to side. So I think more I'm working with the pelvis and just the arms are just floating from side to side rather than thinking I'm doing anything with the shoulders. The shoulders are only following because there's movement in the pelvis. So arms are just heavy, so shoulders can release. Energy's in the pelvic movement from side to side. Alternating my legs a little bit wider there, that feels better for me. So shoulder distance if you weren't before, or try wider, or try narrower just to see how it feels. I felt I was shocking the pelvis slightly in terms of that movement. Okay, and we're going to change that, still keeping that length through the spine, to taking that arms around the body. So it's more active, and there's a connection here with just below the diaphragm around the kidneys with the hands. You can hear the contact and hopefully enjoy that contact, that energy as the lower arms sweep around the back. Particularly, you might get a little bit of feeling across the front of the belly as well. See if I need the space now. I've got my arms, keeping the length through the body, feeling the sense of the body where the arms are having that connection, feel the energy, feel the strength through the body, strength through the back, strength through the side body. Connection to the ground as the focus becomes more center body and shoulders. Okay, and gently slowing that up, going back to the movement we were doing before, but just let the shoulders kind of be the lead for a moment and just let the momentum stop. Feel the energy in the center of the body from the connection of the arms around the body. Okay, so we're going to do as we did last week in terms of the twist too. So hopefully we got that length through the spine, but maybe we didn't. So we're just going to remind ourselves, as we did last week, where the hands are clasped around the base of the skull, the connection with the top of the spine, top of the cervical spine, and the skull. So we all have different shaped skulls in terms of where that feels comfortable. Elbows come out to the side without you sticking my rib cage out. That's me coming back into neutral, so the rib cage is just balanced over the pelvis. It's hard to do. Sometimes I've got to slightly bring my elbows in to avoid that, but I want to keep an open chest if I can. That space here, that sense of lengthening now through the spine. But sometimes that takes a little bit of playing with to not create force or discomfort. So to kind of find that place that's going to give me that support. My belly goes in generally because I'm creating that lift. So the support for the lower back. And from here, breathe in. And on the breath out, we just go over to one side. We breathe in. We come back to center. We breathe out. Go to our second side. We breathe in. Come back to center. So that sense of extension and rotation through the spine. And noticing how, if possible, this feels in terms of how it normally feels to twist. So what I'm finding, because we've done the previous movements, I feel a lot more open in this twist to go further around than I normally would. If I was doing this first twist, I've loosened around the waist and the pelvis, and I've loosened around the area around the shoulders. So using the breath to create space. In breath to center, out breath to each side. Okay, so one more each side, keeping the length in if you can. How that what sense that creates in the whole of the spine. Okay, and that always happens, always my mind have that. Okay, and allow the arm to turn to the ground. Okay, just getting a bit of feedback there for how overall posture feels, how the connection is to the ground, how the inner thighs and outer thighs feel, how the outer parts of the torso feel, how it feels through the center, back and front, and through the opening across the front of the chest and the back of the shoulders. So ultimately, there's this thing where we feel supported, possibly strong, but there's a lightness about it. It's not a rigidity or a holding or a tightness. And those are really difficult to explain. So we're all exploring around those edges of tension and release and strength and support. Okay, so here we go. Just take one foot forward. I know you can't see that, but I think you know what's going to go on here. So I'm bending this front knee, taking the weight a little bit more to this front leg. I'm going to, so I come forward, just to mirror you. I'm going to say come forward, my right leg, I've got my left arm then starting to come across the body. And just getting a little bit of sense of release for the shoulder, but then I want to extend that movement across the side body. And I want to feel the whole side body involved. So I don't want to just throw my arm up. I want to feel like I'm moving from the back to the front, all the way down to lengthen that side body. I'm lifting up the back heel, if you haven't noticed, and taking my weight forward and up. And more weight therefore goes through that front leg. So sometimes you just need to find what's the right distance with that front leg with the knee bent as you take your weight and your energy forward and you lengthen through the side body and that integration. So if you're comfortable, taking your gaze towards your back arm and then your front. So basically, yeah, you look back as your arm goes back, you look up as your arm goes up. But there's still that sense of connection. And if you lose it or you find it just disorientating or unbalancing, then you just look forward and feel. There's advantages to both, to be honest. So you just try them out and just see how you feel. Tend to get more of a swing when you look back and a little bit more opening in the body. So it's a bigger movement. So slowing that up and stepping back. Release the breath. Having a sense of how that side feels, how it feels in the arm and the shoulder. It feels down the whole of the side you've been moving compared to the other side. So stepping forward with the opposite leg, so with your left leg, if you're going with the suggestion step, or if you haven't looked at something different, create a little bit more of the weight through that front foot. A little bit of swing of the arms, see how that feels, see if it feels safe, letting go a little bit here, and then swinging the arm in front of the chest and across the body and lifting the back, peeling the back heel off. So you're not pushing with your foot particularly, it's more that the heel lifts because there's a whole connection through that side body. And hopefully it's quite energizing, quite uplifting, and there's a freedom and a connection to this side body. See how it goes. It might be very different from the other side. And again, if you want to integrate the head to get a bigger movement, but without just throwing yourself forward, there's an energy and a connection down this side body. So a smoothness and energy going up and returning, going up and returning, going up and returning. So a couple more. And then just allowing the momentum to slow things down. Stepping back. Okay, and feeling left side now, or opposite side, whichever side you were working on. So feeling both sides of the body and how the shoulders feel now, how a sense of the whole body feels standing. Okay, so we're going to again take our feet wide, bending our knees, so we're just giving that sense of a little bit more weight but energy through the legs. We're avoiding tipping pelvis forward, tipping the pelvis back. We're trying to find that neutral and then giving weight or sense of weight dropping to the floor from the center. And then there's a sense of extension through the spine. So I'm creating a fist here and I'm cupping it with my other hand. See how that feels, that connection with the shoulders without taking the shoulders up, release the shoulders down, but have that sense of stability in the shoulders, that strength in the shoulders, strength in the legs, sense of a neutral spine and an energized spine. And then let that all drop down slightly as you bend the knees into a little bit more of a squat. And pressing down through the feet, breathing out to release, breathing in to lengthen. So you just go to where you're comfortable and you don't come all the way to standing, you just come to less bent knees, if you like, to your starting point, maybe slightly above. Okay, so next time you're up, just swap the hands, so the fist in the other hand and the cup with the other hand. Check you've got space for your neck, that you haven't bunched up again in your shoulders, and breathe out to take the whole body downwards, more pressure through the feet, push through the feet to come back up. So the back gets the movement, but the work comes mainly through the feet and the legs, feeling strong and connected. So we don't fall into our joints. The joints are supported by strength in the legs. And out breath to come down if you've forgotten. In breath to come up and relax the hands. Just get yourself back to central position for a moment. Okay, I can take us back. See if I need to move. Yeah, I'll be happier with more of a connection with all of the mat. Okay, so we're doing the movement that we've been doing the last couple of weeks. So if you start with your feet shoulder distance apart, so that we've got similar to how we were when we were doing the squats, because this starts with a squat, this movement, if you remember. So you know where we're heading. We're literally going to take our right hand towards the floor, our left hand further forward, so we reach a bit forward, we rock forward to the left hand, we rock from the left to the right, to come back into our squat, to use our legs to extend back and maybe lengthening through the arms. We come down, taking our left hand to the floor. We take our right hand further forward, come onto the balls of the feet so we can float forward. Push back from right hand to left hand to sink back into our squat, to use our legs to climb up and extend up. We come down with our right hand, over with our left, further forward, float forward, back, down, and extend up, lengthening. We come down with our left, place that down, place the right, extending forward, rolling forward or rocking forward, back, down if you can, up, extend. Okay, so this might be slightly different from last week. So this time, I'm going to just do the hands, just thinking that. So what can we see? Actually, no, it's going to still work. Okay, I think. Right, let's see how it goes. Right hand down, left hand down. Release the right hand, create a fist, and bring the right elbow up. And then extend up and open up so you can do a little bit of rotation in the hips. Then bring that hand back down. Push off from the left to the right to extend up. So I'll just show you with the left because I don't think maybe it wasn't that clear on that side. So left, right, come forward, and then on the way back, slightly, fist, elbow back, shoulder open, arm open, and back. Get back into neutral, push back, return, and extend up. So that's slightly different maybe than we did last week. Okay, so relax the shoulders. So first side, to come up to the twist. Right hand down, left hand forward, rock rock slightly back, take the right hand into a fist, take the right elbow back, and then open up into that sort of twist, allowing the twist to come through the whole of the body. Return that hand back down to the floor, press up from the left to the right, come back, come up, extend up. Okay, coming down with the left hand, coming forward with the right hand, roll forward, rock forward, come back slightly, take the left fist, take the left shoulder back and elbow back, open out into the twist, return the left hand down to its position, push off from the right to the left, sit back into your squat, and lengthen up, and release the arms. Third movement. So the third movement, if you remember from last time, we are doing a little bit more potentially of a reach slightly further forward with the right and the left, so we can bend the elbows to kind of go down. So we're going to do a press up, push back up, and return on the same journey. If you need to watch, please do, otherwise join me. So, right hand down, further ahead if you can measure it, for left hand forward, further ahead if you can. Rock forward and come down, press up, left hand to right hand and back, squat and extend, and left hand down a bit further forward, maybe than you were last time, right even further forward, rock forward, bend the elbows, push back and up, from right to left, to heels down, to bottom down, to squat, and back up. Let's do that one more time. Coming down, right hand reaching forward, left hand even further ahead, bend the elbows as you come down, push back up, from left to right, to foot and bottom down, to extend up. Coming down, left further forward, right even further reach down into press up position, press up from the right, the left, back, bottom down, extend up, and release the arms. Okay, let's go down to hands and knees and just recover there, as it just made the knees recovering from the talking. Okay, so onto hands and knees. So I know we're doing quite a bit here with the wrists again, but we're only going to do one movement here, and then we're going to go down, which might give the wrists a little bit of a break. So we're just going to bring the knees together here, and we're going to do the figure of 8. So finding that option. All of you know what we're doing here, drawing a figure of 8 with our nose or our belly. So we create this snake-like movement for the whole of the spine. So we can just unravel it, make it more fluid. And again, just notice if this comes easier than it usually does. It may do, it may not. So it's a rhythm, it's a timing that suits you. So I might be going too quick, you might want to go slower. So going in the opposite direction, so the pelvis circle in the opposite direction and hopefully finding that space. Oh, that's nice, 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 nice. Okay, and although I don't want to stop, I'm going to, and coming forward and onto the belly. Just rest down, finding a position to unstack hands if that's doable. And just relax the front body. So releasing around the lower back, sacrum. And give it a little bit of weight down on the out breath. Relax the shoulders, the jaw, anywhere you're holding tension. Okay, and a couple more breaths here. And then coming onto the forearms, you can have the elbows quite wide and the hands coming in a little bit more to centre. And keeping the chest low as you take your take a look over your right shoulder and bring your right knee up. So again, we did this last week to just lengthen back, and then over the opposite shoulder, knee comes up to where it comes up, but looking to find space, not force space. So the space to bring the knee up, that's great. If there isn't, you go within your limit, you don't create strain. And again, create rhythm. I know it depends what your wear is, to an extent, how you'll be able to get this sense of reaching away and bringing the knee up. So sometimes it's easier on a soft surface with a couple of blankets to give you a bit of support, but sometimes then you get all caught up in blankets. So just see how you go, moving side to side. And a bit like previous movement, just it's a bit more tricky because there's a little bit more strength work going on. But just trying to find a flow. The movement doesn't really have a start and a finish or a side and side. It's just a flowing movement. And then again, just release down and have a sense of the body on the floor. See how long you feel in the upper body, through the spine, through the front of the body. How long you feel through the legs and connected with the legs. Okay, so we're going to come up onto hands and knees, and we're going to be doing some more active work into downward facing dog, plank and side plank. So let's take the hands under the shoulders or by the side of the chest and find a way back up to all fours. Let the hands be slightly in front so the shoulders are back from the wrists here and the toes are tucked under. Okay, so we're just going to rock back and forward. And just to take a break, just take a rock from side to side. It drifts over to one side and then drifts over to the other side, and then come back to neutral, going forward and back twice, and then side to side twice. Back twice and side to side twice. Okay, so going back and forth now, we're not going to go from side to side now. And let's do one more back, and the next time we're going to go up into downward facing dog. Take the knees off the floor, keep the knees as bent as you like, feeling more like there's an extension through the sitting bones. So you get a whole long spine there, you don't collapse the head, you don't look up, keep the spine nice and long, so alignment still in this position. Harder to spot, harder to feel. Okay, and come down to the knees, and back 2 times, and then up back into downward facing dog.
Okay, so this time you can do the movements with the knees coming forward to get into loosening the legs, loosening the back of the calves, ankles, so kind of walking the dog, and then wagging the tail. So keep the knees bent and just take your bottom from side to side, wagging your tail. Okay, and then gently coming down onto your knees. Let's take a break in child's pose if that's comfortable. If it's not, then come onto your back and bring your knees into the chest. Either available. Have your arms by your side like me, or you could have your arms in front if that's more supportive. The head feels too weighted down or uncomfortable in the neck, so just finding a way that's going to create more comfort for you. So let the back feel free here, so breathing into this lower back. Okay, so another breath here, and then coming forward to come back to the position we're in. So again, remember the hands are further forward than the shoulders, the toes are tucked under, the knees are hip distance apart. Okay, so we're going to rock forward and back twice. We're going to go up to down facing dog. You can watch if you like, just to clarify this. So we're going back into down facing dog. We're rolling, it's like we're rippling through the spine in order to bring the shoulders down into plank and roll back into dog. You can roll back into plank. So if you haven't joined me, please do. So there's a rolling through the spine as we come up onto the balls of our feet, then take our weight down. We come up onto our toes, bringing the whole body forward. Okay, let's come back down to the knees. And again, take a break. So next time we'll add in side plank. I've got a slightly different option, variation with that this week that you can take or not take. So again, if you want to kind of take a rest to watch this, then do. And then join me when you kind of have got it. So you can watch if you like, or you can try and make sense of it in motion. So I've got my toes tucked under, hands in the same position, beyond the shoulders. I'm rocking forward, I'm rocking back, rocking forward and back. And then next time I'm going up into downward facing dog. I'm rolling over into plank. And I can take my feet slightly wider so that I can just rotate on my feet to extend up. I can take my arm over for a variation, and as I extend up, I can just let my pelvis slightly higher up. Extend up, come back down. Get yourself back in one piece, back into downward facing dog, and release down. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again, assuming you didn't come with me, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, so going back twice, rocking back with the hips, coming forward with the shoulders, rocking back with the hips, moving forward with the shoulders, and then next time pushing back and up into down, facing down. And doing that roll over to come into your plank. Might need to separate the feet slightly to kind of have the feet side by side to extend up into side plank. You can take the top arm over and just lift the pelvis if the pelvis wasn't that high on the first one. Extend back up, fold back, hands back to the ground, back into downward facing dog, and back onto your knees. And taking a break into child's pose, or coming onto your back. You can wobble from side to side, if that's comfortable for the lower back here. It might not work if you're a little bit higher up, I'm not sure. Bottom's a little bit further away, just see what it feels like to drift from side to side, if that's okay for knees and lower back, sacrum area. Okay, second side. Coming up, hands are further forward than the shoulders, toes are tucked under. We rock back, forward and back twice, and then we're ready to use that support from the front of the body to take us up and back, rolling over into plank. Separating the feet if we need to come on our side to extend up. If you want to extend over and take the pelvis up, you can. Extend back up into this extension of the top arm. Return that to the floor, get the toes to point forward, back into downward facing dog. And onto the knees. And onto your belly again. Excellent. And relax down. So from here again, we're just going to loosen the lower body a little bit. So bending up the right knee, making sure the right knee's in line with the right hip. Just doing a few rotations, just to loosen around the hips. So finding that smooth circuit, one way. And then the other way. So maybe it's smoother than it normally is, maybe it's exactly the same. Maybe it's more sticky. So just see how things are going, and then release that leg down. Feel that right leg compared to the left leg, and then the left side. So doing circles here. One way. Favorite way, your automatic way. Loosening in the hips, see how it feels in the butt, and that left side all the way up to the lower back, side waist, and opposite direction. Again, looking for this smooth circuit, this release, this letting go, some winding. And releasing down. Just get the legs extended. Okay, so you might just need to just find a place where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So from here, I'm going to release my right hand. I'm going to take my left cheek to my left hand. And I'm going to lift my left elbow off the floor and just return it a few times. And you want to feel like you're also lifting the shoulder and the arm as one. And then once you've got that sense, you're going to lift the cheek off the floor, keeping the cheek kind of attached to the back of the hand. Lift the elbow up. So there's a little bit of a kind of rotating to the center and then down. We're trying to keep that smooth. So breathe in, chest up, elbow more into the center. Breathe out. Smoothly come down. Okay, so come and join me if you haven't done already. So get back to your position. Release your right hand to the floor, arm to that side, just gentle, doesn't need to do anything. Left hand is tucked under the right cheek and lift the elbow, not just as if you're lifting the elbow, connect that to the arm, connect that to the shoulder, connect that to the back. And then from there, bring the hand up off the floor to lift the cheek and taking the elbow back. And coming down smoothly, relax everything, switch everything off. Breathe in and again lift. Diagonal back lift, this is called. So it's taking quite a lot of energy. Come down and relax. One more time. And relax. Come into center just for a moment. Just allow yourself to roll on your thighs, hip point to hip point, if that's comfortable. Tap to sigh if you need to, and then release the left arm. Keep the right hand where it is, come onto the left cheek. Just raise the right arm a few times, really getting that connection. Almost like you're really lifting it from the shoulder and the back muscles rather than the elbow once you've kind of got that movement. Using your back muscles, come up, take the face off the floor and lift back, lift. And gently come down, switch everything off. If that felt safe, do two more. Breathing in, lifting the elbow, moving from the back body, and softly coming down. Third time, breathing in, and lift the chest, and release. Again, bring both hands to center, and relax. A little bit of a wobble on the thighs, hip point to hip point. Okay. So we're going to come to standing via one more dog, one more down dog. So bringing the hands under the chest, bringing the forehead down and tucking the toes under. Press down and then back and come forward and go up into downward facing dog. From here, just pressing the hands towards the feet until you get yourself back onto your heels, come down, use your feet, your legs to extend up. Brilliant. Okay, and into center. So our balance for today is the balancing or the balanced dog. So we've done this a few times. So I like it where I can get my feet fairly close together here. So it's kind of like a fist distance between the inside of the feet, the arches of the feet, that sort of distance. Reconnect with getting to standing now. So reconnect with that sense of an uplift through the spine. See how the spine feels. So we've been working and opening through the front of the chest. So the shoulders may have arrived in a very different place. We're going to use the back muscles again for this. So if we bring the fingertips to touch just around the navel here. We take an in-breath, we float the arms up and we float one knee up to the hip. We come back and into center and float up the other knee as the arms just float. And we connect as much as we can to the back center of between the shoulder blades really, and start to think of the movement
coming from that place. So it's from the centre of the back. But the muscles are lifting the arms up more than anything. But the arms are really soft and floaty arms. So we're flying and we're balancing. Finding a steady leg, another light leg. We stabilise, we mobilise. We find this just as a flow once we get going. So we can breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. 2 more. Okay, just get a sense of the body standing here. Breathing body. Take the feet more into your distance apart. Take one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest. Lower your gaze or close your eyes. Be aware of the heart beating and the belly moving. So taking 6 more breaths here, slowly, deeply, no force, no strain, just centering, relaxing the body. So one more breath here. And then just taking your hands behind your back, either the back of the hands or the front of the hands, depending how that works for your shoulders. So you're kind of just below the rib cage here. And just breathing into the back body now. So 6 more breaths here. If you need to change the hands, change the hands. Or if you need to release and come back, release and come back. So after the next breath, releasing the hands. Gently, gently, maybe one arm, one wrist. Whoa. And let's just have a shake out. So a bit similar to as we did at the beginning, but a bit less aggressive, if you like, a little bit less. But just a shake out. And release. Okay, so we're finishing standing this week. So thank you for your presence and your attention, and healthy backs to you, and happy running, exercising, being outdoors, being indoors, whatever your week entails. So we back for the final session next week, week 6. Thank you very much.